Today on Treasure Hunting America, we'll travel to Grants Pass, Oregon to meet with Frank Cerrone, who's gained the reputation of an expert treasure hunter.
In the old days, they used to bury their stuff before they went to sleep at night and then have a campfire on top of it. Or they'd bury it behind a log or a tree because they were afraid of being robbed, bushwhacked, Indian attacks, and there was so much disease and stuff and people that were famished or on hard times, a lot of them didn't make it through the night and nobody knew where they buried their stuff. It's just waiting to be found, and I'm going to look for it.
Then we'll meet Dennis McDaniels, who first found out about metal detecting while playing on a baseball team.
I was playing in the outfield on a slow pitch league. There were some people out metal detecting out past me, and I got fascinated watching them trying to play the game at the same time. And after the game, I walked over to one of the gentlemen that was detecting and watched him dig up a couple coins, a ring, and then he showed me some of the other items he had found. Sort of got bit by the bug for metal detecting.
All coming up on Treasure Hunting America. Hello and welcome to another episode of Treasure Hunting America. I'm your host, Mark Hendricks. For the next half hour, we'll share some amazing stories of everyday treasure hunters across the country. Our first treasure hunter is Frank Cerrone. Frank began his interest in gold prospecting during high school, but didn't really get started in metal detecting until his wife lost her wedding ring, only a few months into their marriage.
She came home one day crying. She said, I lost my wedding ring. She had mowed part of the yard the night before with a self-propelled pushed mower. So I started thinking, I wonder if she lost it in the yard. So like a smart man I am, I went out there and got on my hands and knees for 45 minutes and crawled around where I could tell she mowed. And then I realized I had a metal detector in the closet for years that I'd never even really used. And then I metal detected the strip where she was, and I didn't find it. Then I thought, what if it was outside of the zone when she mowed it, being on her left hand? Maybe it fell right outside. I found it. We both went straight to the park and we were taking turns and we got into our first fight metal detecting. I'd start digging, getting a coin, then it would be her turn and she'd take the machine away from me. So within a week we had 2 machines and now we got 6 machines. That was 1996. Yeah, so I'm fairly new at it really. I've only been doing it less than 10 years. And I average close to 5,000 coins a year. As soon as you come to visit us, you're meted by a gold miner holding a nice 1-ounce nugget up there. Gives you inspiration that you know you're coming to a treasure hunter's house. Up above him's a bunch of gold mining stuff I found metal detecting on private property where there used to be heavy-duty mining operations. An old hand-forged pick, the old shovel and a pan, an old wooden handle frying pan and a dinner plate. The old saw blade used to cut the firewood for a bucket line dredge that shut down in 1943. And it was originally steam powered, so they had to cut the wood if they wanted to dig the gold. So some poor guy was cutting wood every single day just to find gold. And here's our Camptown Katie, our guard dog, and her mining cabin, of course, is an old miner's cabin. And it's complete. It's got a swinging door on it and the old wood stove pipe coming out so she stays warm when the weather's cold. We got her because one year I was metal detecting up in the mountains on my mining claim and I had my headphones on and you don't hear a heck of a lot, and I looked up and I had a cinnamon bear charging right at me. And thank God I read a lot of books on what to do if a bear charges you. And I hope you all know you don't run. You stand still, you make yourself look as big as you can, and as soon as I did that, the bear stopped about 6 feet from me. He got up on his back too and started roaring and growling at me. After about a 10-minute standoff, he walked away. When I came home, I told my wife, I gotta get a dog. So because of that, I got myself a mining dog now, and I've never had a problem with a bear since because she barks like crazy and they go the other way. When I was in high school, I knew I was gonna earn my living 100% outdoors. I was not gonna punch a time clock. I was not gonna wear a suit and tie. None of that was gonna affect my life, and it never has. I've earned my living outside ever since the day I got out of high school. I love looking for stuff. Here's an old token from Apollo 11 when they walked on the moon, 1969. And I found this here in a yard, and it's got the astronauts walking around. It looks like he's got a metal detector. And that's one reason I really like this one. I don't know what he's probing for up there, but I like him right off the bat. This is my Carmel Mission holy water bottle. And it's really cool, and it has a date on one side. It says 1776 on it. It says Carmel Mission. And I had an appraiser appraise that at $300. And I've had people try to buy it off of me. Nope, not going to sell it. I'm keeping this one because I know I will never be able to replace it. Here's an old Masonic penny, also made right here in the United States. And it's from the old Masonics. And I didn't know what this was. It has a log, it has an axe in it, it has a bird flying with an olive branch in its mouth. It's as American as apple pie. And when I took it in to the coin shop, I said, what is this thing? It says 1 penny, there's no date. He knew what it was, and he told me it was an old Masonic penny. So those people were making their own money. So be it, I found one of their coins.
When we return, Frank will take us out on the river to hunt for coins and jewelry. Don't go away. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. From gold prospecting to park hunting, Frank Cerrone really enjoys his time in the outdoors. And one of his favorite places to hunt is in the water.
I like it because I'm always nice and cool, and I like being in the water, being a miner anyway. And you're in your own world, the fish, the crawdads, and the coins, the jewelry, and all the good stuff. And then all you gotta do is just move some rocks, fan the bottom, and whatever it is looking right at you. It's normally quick, easy, and fun.
Basically, we're on a false bedrock right here. It's hard like cement. Your coins and jewelry are sliding right along it, and then there's pockets and grooves that it all falls in. I've gotten 8 coins out of 1 pocket so far. It's the best I've done in one spot. And what I'm trying to do is find those pockets. And then when I do, boom, pay dirt. Or I find a bunch of nails mixed in with coins. And I've been finding a lot of nails, nuts and bolts down here too. So that's part of the thing. Every time I find a nail, I slide it in this little device here. I take it out of the swimming hole. It's about loaded with stuff right now. All the junk I find I remove so that kids don't step on it and get hurt. It's a nice public service. All the good stuff I throw on this side. So everything over here, coins, jewelry, over here is all junk too. So I always end up with maybe 30, 40 coins when I'm water hunting. Unless you're in a real popular spot, then you could probably hit 100 or so. But I've gotten 3 or 4 pieces of silver and a piece of gold out of here so far today. So it's been a good day.
This was found at a swimming hole, but I was hunting on the banks with this one last year. This ring was 6 inches deep in hardpack. It's a ring I gave up on and walked away. I couldn't get through the hardpack. I was bending my digging tool. And after about 20 steps, I stopped, and I turned around and went back, and I dug more, and about another inch, this ring popped out of the ground. One of the funnest rings I had to find was this one. This is a homemade ring. It's 16 karat gold. It's the weirdest thing. This was in 15 feet of water. And when I found this ring, I started blowing bubbles underwater because, you know, I yell in my own way.
There's a nice pile of cobbles here. Whenever you start getting a pile of cobbles off of this hard, slick, false bedrock, stuff starts building up. Okay, good signal. It's probably a pull tab or a quarter. Well, it's better than a pull tab or a quarter. Small little silver ring. It's tarnished. It's probably been there a year or two. But that's what it's all about. Silver!
One of the big dangers, you got to pay attention. If you're in a river or a stream of any size where objects can float down, every so often you got to look upstream. A couple years ago, I was in the water about waist deep having a good time, and all of a sudden about a 20-foot log went right by me. I mean within 3 feet of me. And I started hoofing it for the shore, thinking if there was any branches on this, they was just going to whack me. Well, there wasn't, thank God. But that taught me a valuable lesson to pay more attention around me. I always listen for the boats. You can hear the boat motors, and when a boat comes along, you got to stop and stand up straight and take your machine out of the water because there's such a wake sometimes that I've actually got pushed 3 or 4 feet to the side from the yahoos that don't slow down when they're in a swimming area when they should slow down.
From time to time, Frank has been approached by people who don't at first appreciate all the benefits of him hunting on the river.
I've had people come up to me before when I've been water detecting, shallow water detecting, and they'll come running and yelling and screaming, "What are you doing digging in the swimming hole? What are you doing looking for stuff people lost?" They'll call me names, and I'll reach into my apron because everything I find, I put in my apron. I have found bullets. I have found pocket knives in the open position. I've found cans that have rusted so bad that if you stepped on them, you're going to go to the doctors to get a tetanus shot. When you show these people the stuff you're pulling out of there and cleaning it up for them, and then their attitude changes, and then they realize, oh my God, you're actually doing a nice service here.
There's a good signal. That's a quarter, 1946. That's not too bad. And there's still stuff down here. Rough it up a little bit. I can see the edge or something. Now that's there, oh yeah. Same date, 1946. That will clean up nicely. It's kind of black and icky, but that's a walking $50 in the same hole as a quarter. I'll bet they're lost the exact same time.
When we return, Frank will share about one of his most favorite sites to hunt, old homesteads and pioneer camps. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. As you've been able to see, Frank's enthusiasm for metal detecting is contagious, even though he's been doing it for a short time. Some new areas of hunting for Frank are homesteads and pioneer camps.
What you need to do is look for landmarks where the house was. When you start detecting looking for an old house, when you start finding square nails, you know you're in the building site area. Basically, try to imagine how big the square was that the house was, and then look for anything that stands out that would have been visible from a window. Look for big rocks. Maybe you'll see a patch of daffodils blooming where they shouldn't be blooming. Anything that tells you where somebody did something. I have found more home sites from flowers blooming than I have from talking to people. Because when you find store-bought flowers in the middle of nowhere, you know somebody had lived there and planted them.
Another hot target for treasure hunters is finding an old pioneer campsite where those coming west would put down for the night.
In the old days, they used to bury their stuff before they went to sleep at night. Some of them would build a campfire and they'd have their stuff, because you're talking gold and silver coins most of the time. The fire's not going to bother that. It takes 1900 degrees to melt gold. So they'd just bury their stuff and then have a campfire on top of it. Or they'd bury it behind a log or a tree. You know, act like they're going to the bathroom if there was groups of wagon trains or whatever. All of them buried their stuffs before they went to bed because they were afraid of being robbed, bushwhacked, Indian attacks, and there was so much disease and stuff and people that were famished or on hard times, a lot of them didn't make it through the night and nobody knew where they buried their stuff. It's just waiting to be found, and I'm going to look for it. Some of the other old things I did detecting some old spots was finding old Chinese coins, because the Chinese were gold miners too. And their coins aren't dated. They have symbols on them from the emperor of that time. And this one here is from 1736 to 1795. So that's how long that guy was alive and in charge. And this goofy little one here was 1821 to 1850. I've found 4 or 5 of these at the old mining camps, and they're not worth a lot of money, but the thrill of finding them is incredible. I went to Alaska metal detecting last year. It cost me $2,500 to go to a mining claim to metal detect. $1,100 for airfare. As soon as we got there, there was 15 of us. I was the first guy to find a nugget. I found this right off the bat.
For Frank, his ultimate find isn't necessarily hidden treasure.
The ultimate treasure hunting find for me would be my wife, because if she wouldn't have lost her ring, I don't think I would have gotten so involved and found out a passion that I didn't even know I had.
But hidden treasure is on Frank's mind too, and so is his ultimate buried find.
There's lots of one-room schoolhouses all over this state, and I've detected 4 of them. One of them has a story with a lost bell that the kids stole and buried in the 1950s. And so that's always in the back of our minds, what if, what if? And there, like I said, there's so many of those out there, it's ridiculous. Sooner or later, I'm gonna find myself an old bell.
Dennis McDaniels got started in metal detecting by watching others find coins and jewelry in the local city baseball field. Since then, he's gone on to amass quite a collection of rings, coins, and antiques.
I was playing in the outfield on a slow pitch league, and the field that we were playing in was a very large field, and there were some people out metal detecting out past me, and I got fascinated watching them trying to play the game at the same time. And after the game, I walked over to one of the gentlemen that was detecting and watched him metal detect for a while and watched him dig up a couple coins, a ring, and then he showed me some of the other items he had found, and I got sort of excited about that and went out and bought a little $90 inexpensive metal detector and found a few neat things and sort of got bit by the bug for metal detecting. I went up to White's. I bought their very best metal detector. I've been hooked ever since. It's a fascinating hobby. My wife and I average $300 to $400 a year in coins, and that's just hunting in local parks and schoolyards. Picnics are real good. They're out there playing frisbees and throwing things, and the rings can slip off their fingers and watches can slip off. This is just some of the rings that we've located over the years, and when a customer comes into my shop to look at metal detectors and they see this display of rings, this almost is a surefire sale item right here. They look at this and are amazed by the amount of rings that one can find. And on occasion, I have come back home with 4 to 5 rings in one day. It doesn't happen too often, but it's exciting when it does. Currently we're hunting at the Fern Ridge Lake in Eugene, Oregon, and at this time they're draining the lake to do a little work on it. This type of an area is real good to hunt in because the water level goes down, exposes the ground where people have been swimming for years, and the opportunity exists to find lots of coins and jewelry. Actually, it's amazing how many rings and earrings are lost by people swimming in the water. Their hands get cold and the rings come off. This park has been pretty productive over the years, especially in this little pond area here. A lot of people sit here with their children and play, and we're getting a reading here, indicates that it's a quarter. Okay, we've got it in the sand scoop here. 1944 silver quarter. I think everybody's curious about things that are in the ground when they see somebody metal detecting, and they think, I wonder what he's finding, and they'll come up and ask. And when you explain what the possibilities are of the things that you can find, especially if you can pull something out of your pouch and show them what you're finding, it instills the need to want to go out and find things. Metal detecting can be more enjoyable when you have somebody to hunt with. My wife and I have been hunting together for 10 or 15 years, and it's been a great hobby. It gets us out of the house, out of the garden, just out in a real relaxing atmosphere, nice fresh air. And I'm getting a really nice signal here. Indicates that it's a pretty shallow target. So on my shallow targets, I take my little bullseye unit, which I wrap with tape to keep a little clean. Yeah, I'm getting a shallow reading right there. Yeah, it's a current dime, it looks like, but it's all rusted and corroded. Looks like a little oxidation on it. See, there's stuff out here. You just keep hunting and plugging away, you're going to find a lot of nice targets. Okay, these are some of the coins that I found over the years along with my wife. This page right here, Chinese and Japanese coins. Just different kinds of coins. There's Canadian, Mexican, Spanish, New Zealand, Australia. You have to learn the machine in order to get the most out of it. You have to learn the sounds that it makes when it goes over a certain type of object, like a pull tab or a nickel. They sort of have their own little signature. Everything is dependent on the size of the target also. You get a small target of one type of metal opposed to the same size of metal but bigger. It's all going to give you different signals. In my years of hunting, I've had pretty good success hunting in volleyball courts. People are diving. If they have shorts on with money in their pockets, it sort of falls out pretty easily. I'm getting a good reading right here. It says a penny about an inch and a half deep. So I'll just use the bullseye here to pinpoint. Again, this is indispensable for finding this kind of a shallow target. Yeah, I got the pinpointer right there. Yeah, it came up as a penny, just as indicated, which is nice.
For Dennis, finding treasure is great, but being in the outdoors and getting the exercise is his greatest reward.
The exercise aspect of it, I like it because you're getting down on your knees and getting up, getting down, getting up. It's good for your stomach muscles and your leg muscles. I'm in pretty good shape myself, but this is helping me stay that way.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Treasure Hunting America. Be with us next time as we explore more stories of everyday treasure hunters around the country. Until next time, I'm Mark Hendricks. Happy hunting! Treasure Hunting America is sponsored by White's Electronics, manufacturers of the world's finest metal detectors. For over 50 years, White's has been building metal detectors in the USA for treasure hunters around the world. For more information, visit their website or call the number on your screen.